Hey everybody, welcome back to Better Know a Highway, a series where we look at the interstates of America, one road at a time. In this episode, we have our penultimate Zero Series highway, this one running east to west across half the continent while going through numerous interesting places, Interstate 20. And real quick before we get started, just wanted to remind you to please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, always appreciate that. Make sure to check out the VRT Discord, link in the description below, and if you want to support this channel, you can join as a member for just $2.99 a month by clicking the join button below, and I definitely appreciate that. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. Interstate 20 is a Zero Series east to west oriented highway in the southern half of the United States. It spans roughly 50% of the country from the East Coast to West Texas, for 1,539 miles, while running through 6 states. Starting at the eastern end, we begin in the state of South Carolina, where I-20 runs the width of the state for 141 miles. The eastern terminus of I-20 is at a cloverleaf exchange with the major East Coast Highway I-95, just to the west of the nearby city of Florence. In addition, a spur, I-20B, runs east from the same interchange for a short distance. After this initial junction, I-20 heads west and into the rural heart of the state, having junctions with several U.S. routes in the area, as well as passing places such as Bishopville and eventually Camden, which 20 skirts by just to the south, with U.S. Route 521 connecting to it. Soon after, 20 makes a sharp turn to the southwest, and not long after that, reaches its first major metro area and the capital city of Columbia. On the city's northeastern side, 20 has a significant junction with the long-running I-77, which begins just to the south. The highway then bypasses the city core just to the north, having numerous junctions in the area, including another significant one, this time with I-26, which leads to a spur I-126 less than a mile away, which then leads into downtown Columbia. I-20 then leaves the area, remaining on its new southwestern path, heading back into relatively rural and agricultural lands. As it continues on, passing by numerous smaller towns and cities, 20 reaches the southern part of the state, and eventually has a junction with the famous U.S. Route 1, the Eastern Seaboard Highway. After this, 20 has its final stretch within South Carolina, still on a southwest heading, and soon passes near the city of Aiken, staying several miles north of it. Then the highway has one last junction of note, this time with a spur route, I-520, which takes place just before 20 reaches the Savannah River, which it then crosses over and enters its next state of Georgia. I-20 cuts directly through the northern half of the Peach State, connecting several important cities, for a total of 202 miles. Immediately upon entering the state, 20 passes through the city of Augusta and its surrounding regions. Staying to the north of the city core, the highway has a critical junction with State Route 28, which leads travelers to the nearby Augusta National Golf Course, site of the Masters Tournament and a major attraction in the area. After a short trek winding through dense suburbs, 20 reaches the second junction with the spur route I-520, which itself serves as a beltway for the nearby city. Soon after, 20 makes a turn more to due west and leaves the Augusta region altogether to head deeper into Georgia. As it heads to the west, 20 enters back into rural landscape, but also passes by several settlements of note, places including Thompson and Madison, the latter of which were 20 junctions with U.S. Route 441, which heads north towards the city of Athens. Also of note, I-20 parallels U.S. Route 278 closely through this region, effectively replacing it for most travel. Soon after, 20 reaches more smaller cities, such as Covington and Conyers, and as it does so, the population density rapidly increases, and the highway enters the eastern suburbs of one of the largest metro areas it will pass through, the city of Atlanta. As the highway heads in from the east, it first has a junction with I-285, a beltway spur known locally as the Perimeter. After this, 20 enters the city itself, curving around for a bit before reaching the downtown area and passing it just to its immediate south. It's in this dense area where I-20 has a major and complex junction with two major concurrent highways, I-85 and I-75, directly next to the city core and capital area. This junction also gives drivers a route south to the city's major airport, one of the busiest in the entire country. As it leaves the downtown area, 20 enters back into dense suburbs and residential neighborhoods, and soon junctions a second time with the I-285 beltway. Then after this, the highway passes through a large industrial park area, as well as directly next to a Six Flags theme park. As it leaves the Atlanta area altogether, the population density remains mid-level, and 20 heads towards the western edge of the state. The final stretch within Georgia passes by a few more settlements of note, places such as Douglasville and Villa Rica, as well as having a junction with US Route 27, which leads south directly to the nearby city of Carrollton. Shortly after, I-20 reaches the state line and heads further west into Alabama. I-20 takes a crooked path through the heart of Dixie, running the entire width of the state for 214 miles. Initially traveling through classic southern countryside, the highway heads deeper into the state, staying on its western course. Several places line the pathway, such as Oxford and Pell City, as well as a crossing of the Coosa River between them. 20 also passes near the city of Talladega and passes directly next to the famous Talladega Speedway, providing access to it as well. As it continues on into the woodlands and ridges of central Alabama, 20 eventually reaches the city of Birmingham and winds its way closer into the metro area, where it first has a junction with the spur route I-459, which serves as a partial beltway, after which the highway keeps towards the west and soon enters the downtown area itself. 20 soon passes the local airport, and it's here where the highway begins one of the longest concurrencies in the entire interstate system when it junctions with I-59. The two routes head west together and will remain so for the next 153 miles. A busy junction with US Route 31 is quickly followed by a major junction with I-65, a lengthy north-south route. After this, 20, along with 59, begins to make a gradual turn to the southwest and traverses the suburbs of the city and eventually leaves the area altogether. Now on a southwestern heading, 20 and 59 pass the suburban city of Bessemer and just after have a second junction with the spur route I-459. Soon running through more sparse lands, the highway makes a gradual turn back to the west and after a short distance heads into the Tuscaloosa area. Remaining on the south side of the city, a short connector spur, I-359, leads drivers to the main downtown area just a couple miles away. This short stint in populated terrain quickly ends, and 20 and 59 make a turn back to the southwest and head back into countryside. The rest of I-20's time in Alabama is coupled with I-59, as they both run through areas of little note, eventually coming upon smaller places such as Livingston and York, just off the roadway. After a considerable distance, 20 and 59 reach the very western edge of the state and then cross further into Mississippi. I-20 essentially cuts the Magnolia State in half as it runs a straight line from east to west for 154 miles. With both I-20 and I-59 running concurrent as they enter the state, the two routes continue southwest together for about another 23 miles, where they then reach the city of Meridian. Wrapping around the southern edge of it, with several important exits to local routes, I-20 and I-59 finally split just after passing the city. 59 turns south to head towards the Gulf Coast, and 20 stays on a western path. As the highway moves deeper into Mississippi, it enters the Black Belt region of the state, a rural area with rich soil and agriculture. Along the way, 20 passes smaller settlements, places such as Newton, Forest, and Morton, with long stretches of woodlands and farms in between. After some time, 20 reaches its next region of note, the capital city of Jackson. First passing through several smaller cities in the periphery, I-20 reaches the city and crosses the Pearl River just to the south of downtown. As it does so, it junctions with another major north-south route, this one being I-55. The two routes briefly run concurrent for just under 2 miles and cross the river together. I-55 splits off from 20 and heads south, while the latter begins an overall northwestern path out of the city core. Before doing so, it has a junction with a partial beltway spur, I-220, which heads north. Then I-20 moves out of the Jackson area altogether and makes a slow turn back to due west and towards the western edge of the state. The last place of note within the state is the historic riverside city of Vicksburg. As 20 approaches from the east, it makes a slight dip south to go around the outskirts of the city and connect to it via several exits, including one that provides access to Vicksburg National Battlefield. A bit further, after a junction with US Route 61, 20 turns back to the west and immediately makes its most major crossing when it spans the Mississippi River and heads into its next state. I-20 crosses the northernmost part of Louisiana in a relatively straight east-to-west line for 190 miles. Once across the Mississippi, 20 enters the lowland plains just to the west of the river. The highway runs past a few settlements in this area, with the first one of significance being the city of Monroe. Unlike many other cities along its route, 20 cuts directly through Monroe, with several exits leading directly to the main drag just off the highway. Keeping west and moving on from the Monroe area, I-20 enters the country lands of northern Louisiana, winding through forest and farmland. Several places of note, including mid-sized settlements such as Ruston, Arcadia, and Minden, line the highway periodically, separated by long periods of rural travel. Also of note, nearby US Route 80 parallels the interstate through this area, serving as a direct connection to these places, with several junctions connecting the two highways. Over time, 20 makes its way across the entire state, and it's at its western end where it meets the largest city in this region as it enters Shreveport. First, having a junction with the partial city beltway I-220, which takes a more northern path. 20 then makes a slight turn southwest and has several bends in it as it nears the downtown area. Before reaching it, 20 first makes a crossing of the Red River, then immediately passes next to the city core with a major junction. Just after this, another junction arrives when 20 meets with the northern terminus of I-49's southern section, a highway that is planned to run continuous through the area in the near future. Moving on, 20 makes its way through the rest of Shreveport, including many residential areas, as it makes a long gradual turn back to due west. Along the way, it has a second junction with I-220, thus closing the loop, and soon after leaves the area. It's not much further until 20 reaches the western state line to cross and enter its final state of Texas. I-20 spans the Lone Star State for roughly 2/3 of its width, from the eastern line to the western desert region for a whopping 636 miles, by far the most of any state it travels through. Although the terrain is initially sparse upon first entering, most of 20's time in East Texas is within populated regions. Not long after crossing the state line, 20 passes a few miles south of the city of Marshall, with US Route 59 connecting to it. As the highway heads deeper into Texas, it passes several smaller cities within the region, including Longview and Kilgore, and eventually the slightly larger city of Tyler, where 20 stays several miles to the north and is connected via US Route 69 and 271. Winding its way further west, but still within the eastern part of the state, 20 traverses vast farmland and more settlements, and it's not too long after before the population density increases once again, this time considerably, as 20 enters perhaps its most populated section along its entire route, when it reaches the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. 20 enters the dense cityscape from its southeastern side and has an initial junction with one of the area's beltway spurs, I-635, which heads north while 20 keeps generally west. This direction keeps the highway a fair distance south of downtown Dallas. A major junction with the eastern spur of I-35 comes next, and provides travelers a route north to the downtown area. 20 also junctions with I-45 in this area, a route that heads south towards the Houston Metro. After these busy intersections, 20 runs further along and enters the vast suburban lands of the Central Metroplex, eventually entering and passing through the city of Arlington. As it enters the western half of the region, 20 passes the other twin city, Fort Worth, to its south as well by several miles. A junction with the western spur of I-35 comes next, and once again provides a path to the nearby city core. More junctions follow as 20 makes a turn to the northwest to wrap around again, intersecting with another partial beltway spur, I-820, and just a couple miles later, a one-way junction with the western terminus of I-30, with traffic from both routes now heading west and out of the Metroplex. Now beginning to enter the western half of Texas, the terrain slowly changes, less green and forested, and with wider open plains that eventually turn brown and give way to desert. First, however, 20 winds its way east and juts a slight bit south, passing places such as Eastland and Cisco, until arriving at the city of Abilene. Here, 20 makes a curve around the north side of the city, which completes a near circular loop along with US routes 81 and 277, as well as Texas Route 322. Once past Abilene, 20 begins to turn more to the southwest, slowly and gradually. Now traversing the western plains and its vast farmland, the highway continues to pass smaller cities that dot the landscape. Places like Sweetwater, Colorado City, and Big Spring, with the highway wrapping around each and having numerous intersections along the way. The terrain continues to change as 20 keeps west, eventually becoming more arid as the highway enters the West Texas oil country. Traversing among the many petrol wells dotting the landscape, 20 soon reaches and passes the cities of Midland and Odessa, staying on their southern sides and junctioning with each city's local state route beltway. The final stretch of I-20 takes it through true desert landscape, while also passing several smaller settlements and crossing the winding Pecos River, with the city of the same name following shortly after. 20 takes another circular course around it, with a business route taking drivers into the small downtown section and connecting back to the main highway after. Roughly 35 miles past Pecos, and in the middle of the barren, arid terrain, I-20 finally terminates at a rural junction with a much longer transcontinental I-10, with traffic from both routes continuing west towards El Paso. This intersection finally marks the end of I-20 and its truly impressive run of 1,539 miles. And that will finally do it for this in-depth episode of Better Know a Highway. Really hope you enjoyed and learned a little something as well, as always. And hey, before you go, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Always appreciate that. Make sure to check out the VRT Discord. Link is down in the description below, and I hope to see you there. And if you want to help support this channel and help me make more videos, you can sign up as a member for just $2.99 a month by clicking the join button below. And I want to send a big shout out to all my members. Thank you so much for your support. And I also want to welcome new member K Moti. Hey, thanks for signing up. It really helps and I appreciate it. Now, with all that stuff out of the way, make sure you enjoy the ride. And up next, Interstate 17, and I'll see you then.